everybody, welcome back to Guitar Wishes, your guitar wish of the day. This is Lee and Hayden, and we are coming to you once again from the beautiful Guitar Wishes facility. That's right here in downtown Lincoln, North Carolina. Today, here in-house, we have Mr. Doak Turner. Doak, how are you?
Brother Lee, good to see you, man.
It's good to see you.
There's so many great things about you, man. And
well, somebody's lying.
most of it was good.
Well, most of it was good. Well, then a little bit was probably true.
And hey, now I've heard about him too.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
sorry. Most of it was good too, man.
He's something else. And I'm sorry, I don't know if we should be shaking hands here in the middle of the COVID crisis.
Okay, but man, we'll get that extra job.
Yeah, we've washed our hands before.
First hand I've shook in about 4 months.
I thought about it as I was doing this. Should I do this?
Usually bump.
Oh man, well, I mean, it's cool to have you in the store. You know, you've come in recently. You've done so much in your life. Songwriter, you're a marketing and a business master. But what I like to think most is you're a networking guru. You're a king of networking and how that affects any business that you're in and any relationships that you build.
Right.
And you know. I think about what's going on in the world today and the influence and the work that you've done in the music business and you know, live touring, songwriting, and all these things. How do you see what's going on in the world today? Well, how do you see the effects, and what do you think the effects are going forward?
Well, with the networking, like, so I've been blessed, and I studied to learn how to do it. I remember seeing a Success magazine in the early 80s. And networking, I'm like, what is that word? Mm-hmm. I could just see a spider web kind of thing.
Right.
And so I'd read some books, Magic of Thinking Big, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends, Influence People, you know, Carnegie and so forth. And I've been surrounded. My mom loves people.
Right.
She loves to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
And people I were around, she worked for a guy that he had taken a Dale Carnegie course, and he ended up being a great manufacturer's rep. His name was Speedy.
Right.
And he was like another dad to me. And so I would just watch how they would enjoy working with people.
Sure.
And you learn. And so, you know, we can talk about it, you know, some of the stories or whatever through this.
Sure.
But, you know, how does that change now?
Right.
Well, you have to learn social media. And one of the things I try to do is if someone wants to friend me on Facebook or LinkedIn, I don't just check friend, okay, you know, we'll do that. But I want to get back with you. Like, Lee, great meeting you. Mm-hmm. What's happening good in your world?
Right.
Not just see how many friends we have, but let's build relationships.
Right.
You know, and so all of that has changed, I think, now. But there's still ways to win if you're, say, an independent artist or even, you know, a bigger artist, with learning the social media, but again, staying engaged with your friends and your fans.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So where do I see it going? I wish I had that magic ball there, but you know, we talk about the ways to keep on winning. Again, keeping your relationships, the one that you had. I like just calling and checking on my friends. Mm-hmm. Hey man, how you doing? You know, whether it's business or not, but if it's a business, I'm calling just to see how they're doing, if I can do anything to help them.
Sure.
Stay in touch with those people out there. Where it's going, I don't know. It's talk to my friends in the industry, like the people in touring. Mm-hmm. And right now I understand there's people at like William Morris Agency or CA.
Right.
You know, they're saying 2022, second quarter maybe.
Yeah.
But what can you do? There's ways out there to keep on winning, staying in touch, making your music.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking to some of my friends, say they're writing some of their best songs.
Right.
And they're not quitting. You know,
yeah.
You got to keep going. There's so many ways now. It's the best time to be an independent artist.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and the songwriting should be booming right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely be booming.
Yeah, you know, you got to stay. I think we all went through that period of maybe we're in shock and not doing anything.
Right.
And, you know, I always say I feel sorry for those guys that told their wives and their girlfriends, man, when I get time, I'm going to do that around the house. Because you know what? It's all done. I took some time away from the creativity, but I always had my phone, always with the ideas.
Right.
Now I'm just starting to pick up the guitars again, thanks to you guys. But there's a, you know, you got to stay creative. I've tried to quit songwriting, keep falling off the wagon and writing those ideas. But this is the time. Okay, now you've got everything done around the house, probably.
Right. Yeah, but I love the creative avenues that other people are choosing to do what they love to do. The whole drive-in concert series,
Yes.
as we were talking before, is booming.
Yeah.
And it's incredible what's happening. Live shows, videos of shows being shown. And I think that's, again, another really creative aspect.
Yeah. There's ways to win we can talk about, today.
Oh, absolutely. And, you go back, you were talking about your training and learning networking and seeing that word on the magazine. Take me back to young Doak. And, was music in the family? Did you enjoy music as a kid? Where did that love of music come from? And how did that tie into your passion for networking? How did you find that fit?
I've always loved music as long as I can remember. I mean, the first songs I remember going through my ears were one of my favorite people, Bill Medley, the Righteous Brothers.
Yeah.
I remember that deep voice and the Righteous Brothers going through my ears. I remember listening to Bill Anderson as a kid. Still, you broke my heart.
Great stuff.
And all of that. Stevie Winwood when he was like 16. Give me some lovin'. All of that just worked on me. It got inside. And Mom and I would go for a drive in the car. We always had the radio going. Oh, yeah. So it goes back there. And as I was growing up, we had friends, like I mentioned to you a little while ago, a guy named Speedy was like another day. My parents would go to their house. And on Friday and Saturday nights, you know what they would do? They would get the records out and put them on the stereo, and they would be dancing. Mom's favorite was always Proud Mary. Oh, yeah. They would do that. Jerry, my stepdad, my dad, his was Devil with the Blue Dress On. So that music always meant fun to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so from there, I've always loved it. I remember buying those first albums, riding my bike in my hometown in St. Albans, West Virginia, getting Grand Funk Live and Steppenwolf Gold. I mean, those things they stand out to me.
Absolutely.
Special days.
Oh, sure.
And listening to that. Yep. And then in high school, going to concerts with my buddies. And have how people can influence you.
Oh, sure.
Had a friend of mine, Paul Amick, and his brother Chris. They were turning me on to like Ted Nugent, Robin Trower, all of those cool, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. We did a road trip to see Frank in Louisville one time. And again, it still stands out.
Right.
I just go into those shows and just think, you know what? One day, somehow, I want to work in this business. I could be the guy going backstage and working somehow.
Sure.
Years later, well, I tell you what, my dad gave me some advice that really helped me on this journey. And then, I was telling someone today to tell their 17-year-old kid, don't know what he's going to do. My dad, when I'm graduated high school, was this time of year, I don't know what I'm going to do in life. He said, Doak, you try this, you try that. You go here, you go. When you get up here, what you learn back here is going to help you.
Sure.
And that's my whole journey, is you don't have to have it figured out, just try.
Right.
So I worked a couple of years, manufacturer's rep, working as for my dad as an architect. One day I'm listening to the radio. And in our hometown, we had like 100 was like the AC station, 105 was the rock station. We had these little things called radio dials back then.
Yeah, I remember those.
And I'm going and, okay, 100, okay, let's go to 105. And there's 102.7. There's Donna Summer. Donna Summer changed my life. I never got to tell her, but I got to tell her husband in an interview that she changed my life because Donna Summer, Finger on the Trigger, September 1982. I'm like, I'm going along. It's like I'm at the traffic. It's a disco song, man. Finger on it's a disco station. This is cool. I'm dancing like this. At the end of that, this is the defining moment. At the end of that, we're a new radio station, Super 102. We're looking for salespeople. And I'm at the point where in February, I started Radio Magic, Thinking Big, Thinking Grow Rich, all of this stuff.
Right.
So I'm trying to find what is it. You set goals, but find a passion. What is it? They're looking for radio sales. So I write down the number. 20 minutes later, I'm at my dad's office, and they have the AM station on. And this is Al Ham's Music of Your Life, the 50s music. He said, hey, there's a station looking for salespeople. I'm like, thank you, God. I get it. I'm supposed to call.
Right.
So I call and get the interview.
Sure.
And this may be off, well, again, just learning, being prepared. Luck is spelled W-O-R-K.
Right.
And so I go, and this guy, Clay Conrad, is the sales manager, tells me he's from Memphis, and he used to play ball with Elvis. And I'm asking him questions, building rapport, getting him to like me.
Sure.
I got 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason.
That's right.
I learned that. And at the end, because I had listened to motivation tapes and sales tapes, I just looked at him and said, so do I start next Tuesday or Thursday? He just like you did. He smiled.
I love that.
He said, well, you need to come up and meet the general manager. He's not here right now. I said, is that tomorrow morning or afternoon? The only clothes I do. But and so I went up. I got the job. And I'd always listened to radio. And I knew who advertised because I listened to radio all the time.
Sure.
And I just started going and calling on some of those people I heard advertise. And I was blessed to be like the top salesperson every month.
Wow.
And because I loved it, I found my passion, and it was music. And getting to be there to listen to the DJs that I grew up always listening to.
Sure.
Man, I'm part of that now.
Right.
And I've never been happier like that.
Wow.
So that's sort of started.
Wow.
And then from there, I said, hey, I want to work with the promoters and all the events.
Now, had you discovered your passion for songwriting at that point?
No, that happened in 1989 when I was living here on Lake Norman. Mm-hmm. But I remember getting albums and looking on the credits. And who are these people in parentheses?
Right.
And I found out, and that's the songwriters. So I knew who the songwriters were, and I knew Bernie Taupin and Elton John, and of course McCartney and all of these people. They had co-writers or whatever. And so I learned that.
Right.
I knew when I started writing lyrics, because I didn't play, I just started writing lyrics, but I knew enough reading about Bernie Taupin and Elton John. Bernie wrote the lyrics. I said, man, I'm just going to keep writing. If it's meant to be on this journey, the good Lord will send me, someone like that.
Right.
But I just kept writing those ideas, and it led to other things.
I love that story of Bernie, because didn't Bernie, he would write those and then mail them to Elton, and Elton would just have stacks of envelopes from lyrics, and then they went, I guess, to a fax machine a little later on, and now it's just all email. I love that.
Well, and then again, it's crazy how my journey is. Years later, I got to meet Bernie at a songwriting event, and got to introduce him to a crowd, which was cool. Got to spend about 10 minutes with him before. And then a year later, his publicist called and said, Doak, Bernie does artwork and so forth. I want to do a show just for the music industry. Mm-hmm. He's going to be here, and I just want one evening for the music industry, private. And I want you to, will you help me make this work? I'm like, sure. Yeah. So I'm calling my network of pretty successful people. And they come, and unfortunately, I didn't get a commission, but I sold about 5 pieces of artwork for him that weekend. Who would have thought?
Amazing.
Me, I got crazy.
But no, you still have that network. Sometimes that network could be worth more than any kind of commission that you're going to get, and that's an incredible story, And so tell me about moving to Nashville.
Okay.
And the get-togethers that you would have at your house, third Sunday, at 3:00. Yeah. Those and the guitar barbecues. Those are the great events that you had songwriters come to your house. Is that right?
Yeah.
And just swap stories and swap songs. And tell me about those.
Well, I had moved to Nashville October 2002. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, the work that goes into this, a little story behind it. I started. I was going to Nashville in the mid-'90s. I worked for a radio network in the NASCAR business, and they'd have an annual convention called the Country Radio Seminar. Right. So I was going, and it sort of opened up doors. I was going down the street. I saw this building, the Nashville Songwriters. I'd been writing lyrics and songs since 1989. I didn't know what to do with them. I was going to keep writing, and I'd read a couple books that really helped me. But anyway, so I start going to Nashville, learning from the pros with their workshop. I was inviting publishers, inviting hit writers to come to Charlotte. So I was building relationships in the industry. Yep. In 2001, 2002, I hosted about 200 songwriters with the Nashville songwriters. They sent about a dozen pros, big hit writers and publishers, to do a workshop. So building that network.
Absolutely.
And then when I finally sold my place on Lake Norman and moved, I knew some people up there, and they knew of me.
Right.
I knew the passion. And, okay, now what's the story that you wanted to hear? I can make a short story long. So I was watching and learning, and people said, well, the big hit writers said, when we all got to town, we got to know each other. We weren't depending on the big hit writers to help us. We get to your peer group.
Sure.
And one January, February night, it's a Sunday, I was thinking, man, you know what? I'm missing having dinner with friends and family.
Right.
So I called about 30 people, my peer group. We were all new to town. I said, come on over next Sunday. Everybody bring something to eat. So they did. No, you know what? I did it on a night. That's what it was. I did it on a night one time. And about 30 people came.
Right.
I said, look, we all got to work together. We're the class of 2003. We get a little break. We just got here at the end of 2002.
Right.
We got to work together and write together. Then I called them up on a Sunday. I said, how about next Sunday? Let's get together. Everybody brings some food over, a covered dish.
Right.
And we play some songs. So we did. That was pretty cool. And I said, you know what? I miss seeing some of the people that I know will be coming to Nashville. There's this thing called, was it March, April? Okay, I did it the third Sunday on that March. And I said, this thing called 10 Pants South, the big songwriters festival. The hit writers from everywhere they're playing. People from all over the country come to watch it. It's network, it's workshops. And I said, you know what? I'll go get 50 pounds of barbecue, and I'm just going to tell everybody that we come over this Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Guitar barbecue. There we go. We use that word.
Right.
And like 150 people show up.
Wow.
And the guy I'm sharing the house with is a guy named Gary Talley. Gary's a member of the Box Tops. Some of you may remember The Letter, So Deep, Cry Like a Baby. Well, he's my roommate.
Wow.
And so he knows everybody. He was there in Memphis when all that was happening and everything. So I invite everybody I see that week, hey, come on over. Y'all bring some food, beverages or something. And like 150 people show up.
Wow.
And there's some really cool people in the industry. Gary invited some of his friends, a guy named like Wayne Jackson of the Memphis Horns, played Memphis Horns for 300 songs they played, their horns were on. Some other really cool people. Gunnar Nelson is there, Gunnar.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because the guy who owns the house lives in California, and he's a songwriter, and he says, yeah, do that kind of stuff. And Matt and Gunnar used to live at that house before I did.
Oh, yeah.
So Gunnar comes over. And some other, pretty cool people.
He's a character, Gunnar is.
Yeah. Charlie, that was the drummer for Elton John. And people like that were there. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then a lot of my peers were there. I'm like, okay, I'm only going to do this once a year. But hey, the third Sunday next month, let's do it again. So 112 months in a row, about 100 songwriters would come to my house. It was our peer group. So the hit writers started coming. If you lived out of town and you were going to come to Nashville, you wanted to be there for the third Sunday.
Right.
And some of those people are now number one writers. All of that stuff, some of the artists that started coming there. And then, some pretty cool people came, like Tommy Two-Tone. I remember when he came, he's playing Jenny Jenny.
Sure.
My friend Alan O'Day is doing Undercover Angel and Rock and Roll Heaven and just some of the other friends. I'm not trying to name drop, but that's just the way it works.
And that's the kind of people that came. At what point did you consciously think to yourself, you know what, this is turning from more of a just friends getting together to a really huge networking opportunity for everybody involved?
I think whenever I would go around town, because we used to go to writers' nights every night, and everybody, when's the next one? When's the next one? But I've heard about your third Sunday.
Yeah.
And then some of the pros start coming.
Wow.
And, I have a friend, Gary Hannon. He wrote Tequila Makes Your Clothes Fall Off, and a few other back when I knew it all. And Gary didn't play out. He just didn't feel good. But the first time he played Tequila Makes Your Clothes Fall Off was for about 6 of us in a little circle.
Really?
And he developed his confidence. Then he kept coming. He said, here's a song that's out. And he played that. And then he showed up at my house one day. I said, Doak, here's a new song Montgomery Gentry just cut. You're my good luck charm, man. You got to hear it first. And it was back when I knew it all. Number one song.
It's a great song.
So we're with the pros, the peers that kept coming. Mm-hmm. They just made it fun.
Right.
And a friend of mine, that Susie had told me, said, keep track of the number of months. And that was good advice. And so 112 months until the house sold in 2012.
Wow.
And every year we'd have the guitar BQ for 7 years. However, 2009, 650 people show up.
650.
They're inside, they're outside, they're all over. Thank God I had a church across the street with a big parking lot.
Right.
The first time I did one, can we use your parking lot? Yeah, sure.
Wow.
And, how many owners of a house would let you do that? Well, the guy's a songwriter. A guy named Stephen McClintock, and he was one of those game changers for me to have that house and have a very fair rent and so forth. And he would bring his friends over that were pretty big in the industry. And so you just never know. You never know. You got to, you do it. And it's right. As I know remember some of the neighbors referred to it as that crazy house down there on the corner. And it was all free. Everything was free.
And I'm sure that those are relationships that you build that you have even to this day. I'm sure you still talk to quite a few of those people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And every now and then somebody on Facebook will say, man, I wish you'd do a reunion or something. And I've been trying to do that, find the right place to do it, the right time. But again, it's like, thank you, Lord, for the idea. You just try to do something and to help others.
Absolutely. And, we talk about songwriting, and you've had several songs that have been cut. And, tell us about some of the stories that you've got with artists who have cut your songs.
Okay, yeah, I don't have the big hit yet that everyone has always said, hey, man, you're a writer. I heard yours. You guys did hit it. But I've had a lot of yays for the day. One of my first ones, one of their local artists, remember Alicia Perkins cut a song we did. It was here called Righteous Right Hand. And that was a thrill to have somebody local, and we put together a little party for it. But let's see, I wrote a song called Got the Talking Part Done. A friend of mine, Mark Allen Barnett in Nashville, he teaches songwriting to people and so forth. Well, he connected me with his friends in Orange County, California. And they came to Nashville, and we started a song called Got the Talking Part Done. Talk about, how people like to talk and everything, and that's all they do.
Sure.
Guy says, hey, I'm a coach out there, and I hear these players, you got the talking part done. So we wrote that. A couple years later, a friend of mine, I helped him do it, called George Jones University. We went to George Jones's house.
Oh, wow.
And in his bar. And he'd have Georgia to have the bunch of the industry people come out and speak. Well, as we're breaking up on that Sunday, I meet this guy. He's in the Army, come up from Alabama. And we start talking. I said, you know what? I got a CD. He said, I'm looking for songs. I said, well, here, if you want to take that, see if you like anything. He calls me the next day, like, man, I got to talk apart, man. I want to cover it. Let's do it. Come up here, and I'll get you in the studio and all of that stuff. And so he covered it. And, again, relationships.
Right.
I happened to meet the guy, and I'd remembered him from years earlier, from back in the NASCAR country days.
Right.
When I called him, Scott Lindy was in charge of this on Sirius Radio, in charge of country programming. He's like, Doak, if you ever have anything, send it to me, or help me find some new stuff. Right. And there was a show, and I think came on at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Now, this was for 2 hours, and he would play the new releases from the current artists, Tim McGraw, these. Then if he heard another great song, he would play it. I said that was great, but if you've heard a song he likes, So he calls and says, "Man, I'm putting that on this Saturday night." Wow! And the week before, the guy that cut the song was in Florida, and he was on his local radio station. So I hear it played on the Florida station on the internet on the computer. Then I sent it to my hometown guys up in West Virginia station. Again, a DJ that I knew from working years earlier. Now he's at a country station doing afternoon. He said, man, I'm going to play that. Wow. So he started playing it. He did it Monday through Thursday. He did it I forgot, Trash It or Smash It or something, Howl and Growl or something. Sure. And he played against Taylor Swift. I beat her. And all these different people. Well, what he didn't know is between the artist and myself, we had people listening, and the artist had people listening on the computer, so we knew when the song was going to be played.
Yeah.
It would go on for like a half hour, an hour. And they're taking the votes. Well, he's got people calling everywhere. I got people calling. Yeah, the talk apart time. We're voting for that. We're like, and he tells his programmer, like, man, I got people listening in Ohio. I got people listening in Oklahoma and LA. They're listening to me now.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's the Doak effect. But I won 4 days in there, so that was fun. And here in Florida, and then that Saturday night, hearing it with 5 of my friends at an event at Fender Guitar would put on. They used to do this little thing in the summer.
Yeah.
And we were listening to concerts. Like, it's about time. So we went up to the parking lot, opened the doors, and 5 of my friends are there. One of them's taking pictures of it going across, talking part. So anyway, that was a big thrill.
Sure,
some other people, independent artists, cut them. And well, another cool one was Jimmy Fortune, the Statler Brothers.
Statler Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd written a song at a retreat with Keith Anderson, that was an artist, #1 writer, and Buddy Hyatt, and Kim Williams, who wrote a lot of the Gar stuff. His daughter actually put on this workshop. And so I had this idea that my girlfriend Kathy had sent me a People magazine. And I wrote this idea. It was an interview with Keith Urban.
Oh, wow.
It was right after he got out of rehab, right before he got married.
Sure, yeah.
And I remember reading that article, and I just took notes, and it said, I remember it said, but at least I'm feeling again. And so I took the idea and right. We ended up writing it. Keith showed it to Kim, and he added a couple new twists to it. Like, sure, man, and so there's the co-write. Buddy ends up producing Jimmy Fortune. He plays him this song. He's like, man, Jimmy Fortune's going to cut our song. I'm like, Mama in heaven is telling her friends her boy is getting a song cut by Statler Brothers, because she used to listen to the Statlers.
Sure.
And then I became friends. I saw Jimmy at a CMA award show, because I worked a lot of those. Again, networking, helping her.
Absolutely.
And I shook his hand and said, thank you, man. You made my day. You just really means a lot. You cut my song. He's like, you're dope. I want to write with you, man. I love what you're doing.
Wow.
And so I ended up becoming friends with Jimmy, going to his house and writing a couple songs. And
again, networking, man. It's incredible what happens.
Yeah.
It really. And you were talking about backstage at the CMAs. You have an incredible list of backstage adventures that you sent me in a form. You're working on a book, is that right?
Sort of a book, or maybe several blogs or something about, I just call it my crazy journey.
Right. Tons of really cool things happened to you. Some of the stuff you sent me, Sammy Hagar and Journey. Journey was your first, right?
It was.
83, I think.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah, 1983. In 1982, again, it takes work to do this. I just started working in radio. I'm reading a trade magazine. I see this ad, man. We're looking at band Journey looking for a corporate sponsor. I didn't know, so I just called. It's Nightmare Productions, Journey's office, San Francisco. Hey, man, I'm just radio rep. You're going on tour. Can I help you in Charleston or Huntington? And these guys sort of told me what was going on. So, well, here's the promoter you want to call. A couple of months later, Journey's announced. I called the promoter. And back then, Journey in 83 sold out in like an hour. And that's when you had to go get tickets, walk up. Oh, yeah. Or you called.
And that was stadiums. That was like huge.
Yeah, well, this was in arenas.
Yeah.
And so called the promoter, and he'd worked with the rock station, and I got it. We're still new. We don't have our ratings. But again, I developed this relationship with him before, and I'm talking to him. He's like, man, the show sold out in 10 minutes. I said, but I'll go give you 10 tickets. I want to work with you in the future. I'll give you 10 tickets to give away. I said, okay. And I said, man, can I go to the show? Can you give it? And everything. He's like, sure. And I think one of the DJs, or maybe Barry called me. No, Barry called me. Barry left. The promoter said, I got you a pair of good seats. I got you some passes. I'm like, this is cool. I'm going to go to the rock and roll, like the wow. And so we're like 7 rows back and all of this. Then we go backstage. And it was just really cool to meet these guys. And Neil Schon is the best. If you've ever met Neil, he's the greatest.
Yeah.
But everybody, Steve Smith, the drummer, everybody just really cool. Of course, not Steve Perry. Right after the show, he was gone in a limo. Right. He didn't do it. But anyway, it was fun. It was a fun experience.
Right.
And And then, so, ask and you get, don't and you won't. That's
Right.
one of the ways of we learn in this world.
Yeah.
Ask and you get, don't and you won't. Because the worst they can do is say no.
Right. You've done something out in Nashville, the community that you built with pulling together industry professionals with songwriters and just trying to pull everyone together. Tell me about what you did out in Nashville.
Well, one of the things I started in 2003 to help tie it all together.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Orange County, California, when I did a workshop in January of 2003. Again, networking, another coordinator that ran a workshop said, "Why don't you come out here in San Diego?"
Mm-hmm.
So went out, I did that. The last night we go to Orange County, where I end up meeting my future co-writers. And this guy says, "Doak, do what I do." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Send out an email asking your friends where they're playing. Gather all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then put it all together and send it back to them. Here's where everybody's playing, Monday through Sunday night." And I started doing that. Started with 30 people, my peer group.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would go out to the venues. I said, "Look, send me your email every week." And the funny thing with this is I didn't know what I was doing. It was 2003, the internet. I start sending these emails out. I get this Comcast, "You're blocked, you're blacklisted, you're spamming." I'm like, "What's spam?"
Right.
I called. Then back then you had to call Comcast. "Well, we'll call you within 24 hours. So I picked up the phone. I said, "Yes, I'm on your blacklist. Please put me on your white list and tell me what spamming is. And here's what I'm doing. It's all free. I'm not spamming. These people want this."
Right.
I'm sure this guy looked like, this guy's so dumb. He just could not spam if he had to. So from there, not knowing what to do, and the people around found out what was going on. And I think I'm the poster child that if you're doing the right thing, Lee, God will send the right people to you on your journey to help you. I'm living proof of that. Mm-hmm. People would come over and help me with the technical parts and with my computer. And so the Nashville Muse grew. So then that way I ended up promoting the Third Sundays. I promoted events, and it ended up getting involved in benefits and charities. People would come to me, and then, of course, after a year, I started selling advertising. I had a company called Iron Mountain with me, which is storage, data, music, and all this. They were on board. Disc Makers was on board with me the whole time.
Yep.
I developed that relationship with the owner. And through there, I just kept putting out the information, tying people together. Mm-hmm. And people get on your list like, wow, they heard about it. Wendy Waldman, a great writer in California, she's like, "I hear I need to be on this." That's Wendy Waldman. This is a cool day in life. The greatest love of all, and things like that. And so, and then, because of doing that, the Nashville Muse, and just trying to help the industry, bring us all, tie us together.
Right.
Somehow Dave Otto got on my list. And Dave Otto's the guy who invented the backstage pass and laminates. Mm-hmm. And so he got on the list. He sent me an email. "I see you doing a Christmas party. How about if I make up some backstage passes and put Nashville Muse, and then you have a little space to write people's names?" Okay. After that, I'm like, "You probably sell all of these that you can, but I know a couple people in the industry if you need a sales rep." I ended up selling backstage passes and laminates. I still do today to all of the industries.
Really?
Stopped. Again, extra revenue, extra money, reason to call people.
Right. You've done so much, and it's an honor to have you here. And everybody out there, if they want to know more about you, where can they go online to find those things? And when can we see some things coming out in the future? So maybe these blogs.
DoakTurner.com. I have some blogs there, and I will be releasing those and putting them on Facebook, Doak Turner or Doak Turner Carolina.
Right.
So you can go there and read them. And again, the whole premise is, I've got to do this. I don't say this to brag. I've got to do it, but there's a lot of work, as we know.
Right.
And the behind the scenes, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. Well, there's other accounts I worked on in radio that weren't concert promoters that led to this. There's a lot of hours and sleepless nights and working to make events happen, to get sponsors. In radio sales, which opened the whole entertainment up. I had other clients I had to work too.
Sure.
And make calls. And going beyond, the call of duty. Like when Prince came, his advanced guys came to Charlotte here in '88. and showed up at a station on a Friday, and Billy Sparks is there. He was like Prince's right-hand guy, and he's the guy in Purple Rain, you know,
Sure.
with the glasses. No, and there's Billy. I didn't know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we got a meeting on Monday, but I wanted to come here, see if you could help me. I'm like, sure. Man, you guys are on the road. Let's go get something to eat. And then Prince would send advance guys out 2 months in advance.
Sure.
To listen to the market. We were a new station. It was Kiss 102.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, come on, let's go to a buffet restaurant. And then it's like, Dokes, now tomorrow night on Saturday, can you take us to some of the clubs? Because when we come back to town, we like to know a club to go to afterwards. Like, sure, Billy, but you're coming to my place because you guys need some home cooking. Mm-hmm. Got them some home cooking. And then we spent half the night Saturday night with those guys. Monday, I'm talking to the promoter, and we're doing a conference call, and Billy's there. He's like, Quentin Perry's the guy in Michigan. It's like, Bill's like, don't worry about it, Quentin. Dokes takes care of us. This station takes care. Don't worry about that price. He's going to take care of us. And we did. The day of the show, they come in. I pick up Billy at the airport. Mm-hmm. And we're riding around, and we're just, again, developing this relationship. I spend a day with them. Every time they came to town, who's Billy calling? And again, it's just going beyond what anybody else would do.
Right.
Some people are order takers in business. I'm not an order taker, man. How else can I help you? What else do you need in town?
Right.
I think that's just so important with that. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I want to say in those blogs.
Sure.
Is it takes a lot of work. It's the extra hours that you got to do.
Right.
And, you know, if you don't mind, I'll mention, you know, through all of this, it sounds like a glamorous life, but there's a lot of work behind it. Mm-hmm. And I'll share a mistake if you don't mind.
Please.
One of the mistakes of mine is I thought all of this is who I was. This was my identity. Hey, I get to do this, I get to do that. And that's great when it's going well. Mm-hmm. About 3 years ago, 2017, I just felt like a failure. I went for my big dreams in Nashville. I didn't get that big hit. And I'm like, man, I'm not living that life I thought I would. And I failed. I wasted 15 years of my life. And that's what was going on. I even wrote a song, I'm a failure. There's a red flag. But you got to write it out, man. And so that's how I felt. And I moved back to Charlotte. And, you know, thank God for Kathy, my girlfriend. And, you know, things weren't, it was time to come back.
Right.
And, you know, and be with her. Mm-hmm. And she gave me this book called You Are Beloved by Bobby Schuller. And I read it. And it has the identity mantra. It says, I'm not what I do. I'm not what I have. I'm not what others say about me. I am a beloved child of God. I won't hurry and I won't worry.
Right.
Like, that makes sense. All that stuff, that's what I did. That's not who I am. And I forgave myself for doing a lot of things.
Right.
And maybe I didn't get that big, but man, I had an incredible journey. I've had so many times.
You did. And if you think about all the lives that you impacted.
I tried, yes.
And brought together. Yeah. And the relationships that other people have made because you stepped in and brought them together. That's unbelievable.
Thank you. So with all of that, and I was talking with a friend of mine on the phone, and I was explaining this to her. She said, I felt like I felt. She said, Doak, I was always proud of you. I said, wow, you didn't hear my songs. I was wanting all my friends, it's high school friends, to hear that song and say, Doak wrote that. You know, it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said, but you swung for the fence. I'm like, you know, she's right. I swung. Mm-hmm. A lot of us creative people swing. Yep. We may not get that big dream that we have, but think about the journey. It is about that journey.
Absolutely.
That, you know, that destination, one thing, but it's about that journey. Mm-hmm. And so I'm good with that. So I'm just trying to help people to realize that's just what we do. It's not who we are inside. Right. I'm just a beloved child of God, but go out and have fun. And that's one of the mottos we got to have. Go for those dreams, but enjoy that journey. Mm-hmm. But again, that's what we do, and what we have is what we have. The cool people we hang out with, that's who we hang out, but that's not who we are inside.
That's right.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, and that's one thing I would encourage people is just go get that book, You Are Beloved by Bobby Schuller, or, again, the identity mantra. And, you know, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to help people like that, because especially during these times.
Right.
The music industry, nobody knows what's next.
Right.
But don't let that get to you.
That's right.
Find something. Enjoy the day. Thank you, Lord. We're still here.
That's right.
And we're still here for a reason.
Yep.
And You know,
Wow.
and that's what I'm very thankful for. And good people like you and
Well,
my friend Vernon, led me to Guitar Wishes and hanging out with you great people, man. These guys are the best. You need some work done, come right here, man. Go see this man and this
well,
man.
I tell you, I can't thank you enough for taking your time to come out and talk to us today. And what a better, I can think of a better way to end it on the mantra that you just talked about, the identity mantra. And it's a blessing to have you in the store. Doak Turner, everybody, and go to doakturner.com to find out more, right?
Right, DOAKTURNER.com. My contact's there.
Yep.
Reach out if you have any questions. I'll be glad to help you. Anything, the music industry or anything like that. But yeah, just know your true identity, because I didn't. That was mine. Yeah. And boy, when it's good, it's good. But when it's not, like, oh man,
wow,
don't do that. It's just part of the journey, folks.
Well, hey, if you want to know more about what we do here, you can check us out at guitarwishes.com. Check out our Facebook site. Be sure and like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, smash that notification bell for new content when we upload it. And for everybody here, I'm Lee, and this is Doak, and we are out.
Thank you very much.
Cruising for a bruising.